maybe introduce yourself first.
Okay, cool.
Like names, pronouns, how old you are, stuff like that.
Beautiful. So Dorien, they them is good for me right now, and I'm 24.
I'm Trey, 38 years old. Yeah.
Cool. I guess like for me, I still even like grapple and struggle with like the word and like the identity of like transness for myself, just because I feel like I'm looking for a word that can describe and can capture like what's going on with me on like a spiritual level, really. This like recent time with me like turning 24, I really felt like I can't go on. I was like, I can't see myself in the future. Like I literally can't imagine myself in the future. I don't know what's going on. I struggle with like suicidal ideation since I was really, really young. Like since like 11, really. And I didn't really know it was related to that, but I'm like, I cannot see this version of me continuing. And so it's just like an internal process of just like accepting like, oh shit. Can I say shit?
Yes.
Oh shit. I was like, maybe I'm not who I thought I've been and who I've been trying. Like maybe I'm not broken, but maybe this idea of who I'm supposed to be is the broken idea. This box.
Who I'm supposed to be, either this path or this path.
Yeah, it's not working for me. And then I found myself just like, thank you to the internet for this. One of the helpful things, I'm like Googling everything, watching videos, and I'm like, why am I crying watching like this video of somebody getting top surgery? And I'm like, oh, do I see myself there? Is that something I desire that I didn't even think I could have? Not that is even necessarily tied to necessarily being trans or that needing to be necessary, but I think I felt like, wait, that's possible for me? Like I can actually do that if I want to. I got to go through some hoops and figure out how to, but it can happen. And that's like been a huge process of just like accepting that, and also feeling like on a spiritual level, just like integrating like all of my energies, just feeling way more balanced since I've accepted that. Feeling like, damn, I could be here.
It feels like you can breathe. Like when you accept, you're just like, oh, this is what it is. Okay, I'm good. Like, okay, and I don't. And there's no specific way you're supposed to do it. There's no like, some rule list that you're supposed to follow. Even though society kind of tells you that, you either have to fit the boy box or But even as me like transitioning, coming like having examples of men in my life and what they're supposed to look like and what they're supposed to do, I was like, I didn't like a lot of them. So I was like, let me be the man that I want to be. You know what I mean? And who is like caring and who's I'm not saying that they don't care, but like just a little bit more. It's okay to be a little bit quote unquote femme or be whatever, and that's fine, and that's who you are. You know what I mean? And there's no specific way that you're supposed to be.
Hell yeah. That's been like the most empowering part for me is like, oh, I get to create this shit.
Exactly.
Like I get to make me like through my own standards. And then it's interesting like talking about how like, okay, then the tension shows up on the external a lot more as I start trying to create my path. Then all of a sudden people around me are responding in ways where they're like, you changing, what's good? Or I get looks in certain ways, or I'm getting questioned in these bathrooms and blah, 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 more than I would before. But internally I feel more peaceful. And that's kind of like wild too.
So how do you feel that trans acceptance has shifted, or is it, how's it overall?
I can't speak to my 24 years. And, I guess, when I was younger, I didn't see much representation anywhere, really. Not even in my life, just I think the areas I was in. And maybe people's safety. Maybe they didn't feel like they could really show up in certain ways. But I didn't even know what I would be looking for anyways, because I didn't know where I was either. So real talk. So that was when I was growing up, coming of age in that time. And then now in this like young adult period, I feel like there's an opening, and the opening hasn't just been given to us, it's been created and it's been forged, there's people who've been paving paths, older folks, elders, have been paving paths, really. That didn't just happen. So shout out to everybody who's like made that happen. So what I perceive is like, okay, there's some room for people to talk and to share. It's been created. Acceptance. It's tricky. Because sometimes I feel like acceptance will be like tolerance, or sometimes it'll be just like, oh, we got one trans person on this, so we did it. Right? Which just think about the intersections of all identities, ways that has happened with a lot of different identities through time. When with sexuality, I got one gay person. Okay, now I got one black person. Whatever. What it's looked like through time for all identities. So I feel like we're kind of in that period too, where it's like, okay, we got a trans person on set, or we got a trans sometimes, and that's what it's looked like. So there's like a lot more work to be done, but I'm incredibly grateful to just see representation of us living, and at the same time, there's still the like complement to that where people are still being killed on a regular basis, like especially Black trans women, and then I also seen the ways that that's being like reflected, but like Black trans like masculine presenting or identifying folks too. So it's not one thing or the other. That's also all happening at the same time, and so it's complicated as far as that word acceptance. So.
Yeah, for me, it's bound better than what it was before, but it's definitely a lot of work to do still. Especially I'm within like the leather community, and it's supposed to be like progressive and like all these things, and like sexually free, but yet there's a lot of trans discrimination, and just people just don't understand trans folks, and we're still working on that situation. I mean, just like the fact that I'm like the first trans Mr. San Francisco, that's crazy. I mean, talking about like a 40-year history. That's wild. Right.
And San Francisco is supposed to be like progressive,
quote
liberal,
unquote, yes.
Maybe radical, some people will say.
We're supposed to be, setting the bar for the rest of the country for progressiveness, and that doesn't make sense to me. So, I mean, how far have we really come? It's like, it's basically like a slow burn. Like, it's happening, but it's just like we're chipping away. Yeah. You know what I mean? To a huge problem. But I think that eventually we'll get there. But I don't know if it's gonna be in my lifetime. But hopefully it will get a little bit better. But right now. It's just, I mean, honestly, it has been better from where just like seeing folks and seeing people out, and like seeing people like in media and everything like that, and having them, just folks just saying they're here. What I mean? That's very important, and that wasn't happening back in the day at all. Like, there was no way you could tell anybody that you're trans. Like, even among the just never mind be like in the gay scene and being trans is like, no, you know what I mean? Like, especially me growing up, it was like, no, like they did not understand me at all. So I was completely ostracized from that part, and different areas. But now it's better, but it's slow burn. Slow burn, but it's cool. Yeah.
Cool. I'm curious to know what you just like. I can ask you when you talk about getting there. Like, I would love to know what you imagine what like there looks like. Like, obviously there's many there's many destinations to get it free, but I would love to like know what you imagine actually, like what that world might feel like, what it might feel like waking up in that world where we're a little bit closer to what that horizon that there looks like for you. I would love to, if you wanted to go into that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like just, what I mean, like people they just understand, and there's no questions about like your genitalia.
Yes.
My God, like what your plans are for the future. Like, what do you imagine your body looking like? You know what I mean? Like, or just leaving you alone. Can I just be? Can I live my life? Like, I know like 100% of, you know what I mean? I know people are not going to 100% understand all the time, or they're going to have questions, but Google. Google first, and then if Google can't answer your question, maybe, you know what I mean, but leave that up to me, and don't make it like, my body is not like public display. You know what I mean? So because I really don't care about yours, so why are you that concerned about mine? So that's what it would look like. It's just like me navigating the world, or everybody navigating the world, and people just leave you alone. Can it just happen? You know what I mean? So
think about the kiddos too,
and
just letting them say who they are. Before we try to tell them who they are, and that they're failing at that at such an early age, and like protecting them and letting them grow into like the flowers they want to be, and not having to worry about trying to fit nothing. Just being
Because this song, it's made up.
It is. And that has all these real ass consequences, and that's the tricky thing about it.
So that's what I was like. I wish,
Right?
these people, hey, I want to wear this and do this. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I am.
Right.
Live your life.
It doesn't affect me if you're not harming me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's if you're not hurting me or anybody else, cool.
Yeah.
Go for it.
People be acting like you hurting them though. They're existing.
Yeah.
They really do.
They really do.
I'm like, is it hurting your idea of yourself so deeply that you want to externalize violence on me? Which is wild to think about.
And they get very passionate about it, which is very crazy to me. I had this guy who was like in the bar, and he was just like, not knowing that I was trans, he just like was going off about trans people being in like other spaces. And I was like, that's interesting.
That is super interesting.
Yeah,
He was on bad self mode.
Yeah, and I was just like, I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'm trans, right?
Wow.
He just like blew his mind, and he was, he was like, he tried to backpedal. I'm like, it's too late, man. No.
Yeah, that puts you in a super interesting position.
Yeah. And he was really like, I mean, he was going for it. He was angry about it, like that trans people. He's like, they're invalid. It was like, all this, and I was just like, wow, this dude.
Wow.
It's crazy. And I was just like, wow, so no.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that here. I was a little bit more angry when I said it.
Nice. The most recent thing that had happened to me was I was at the hospital in the waiting room, and an older, like, black elder came up to me and was like, what's that in your ear? And I was like, oh, it's tigers. I was like, she's talking about the properties.
Right.
I was like, oh, let me tell you about the properties.
Yeah.
And she was not having it. She was really not having it. She was like, you're a boy and you got an earring in your ear? Because I think she read me as male, and then, or somebody might identify as male or whatever, and so then was upset that I had an earring on. So I was trying to police how I was with my maleness, if that was the thing. And then I was like, oh no, I don't identify as a boy. She was like, so you a woman? I'm like, no, I don't identify as that either. She was like, what? And then like proceeded to like yell at me. She yelled at my mom. She was like, when you were at the hospital, what did you have? What did you have? What did you have? What did you have? And I'm like, are you asking about my body? I'm like, if you're asking about my body, that's, first of all, I don't even know you. I don't know your name. You don't know my name.
Just walked.
I'm in the hospital. There's 15 people. This was in front of people too. And I was like, I'm me. Why is that so hard for you? I'm me. What is so hard about that?
Why do you care?
Then brought up God, which is the really interesting thing to me, is that intersection of spirituality. Is something's going on, because like immediately brought up God, basically told me I don't know God, that I have no relationship with God, that she was gonna pray for me, to help fix me, and that was wild to me because I felt God more now than I have ever felt, and I grew up around like a Black Baptist church, and so I'm like, I feel God more now than I've ever felt God, and it's ironic because people think I'm godless or that I'm the embodiment of sin.
That's the assumption that automatically you're just like jumping into like anything that has to do with Satan or whatever for some reason. My mom actually did an exorcism on me.
Whoa.
I was like, it wasn't funny at the time.
No, that's not funny, but that's intense.
Yeah, and I was just like, whoa. Well, I don't know what you call it. They were like throwing the holy water.
Yeah,
on
basically,
me and,
trying to like,
wow, get the demon out. And I was just like,
wow.
Yeah, that happened, but
super interesting.
Yeah, that was fun.
Give advice to some other trans people out there trying to navigate healthcare.
Yeah, that's
It's a big one, but
yeah. I think like for me, it was just like finding a space like for a trans person just to get like anything. You know what I mean? Like there was no like specific facility or anything unless you had like health insurance. And so like with me being in the military, I couldn't use military health insurance. So I had to get my own, and I wasn't allowed to have private insurance either. So I had to go to like free clinics to get stuff, but there's not very many free clinics. So, and the doctors were not that great at the free clinics. So, that was like one of my main challenges, just finding somebody who could, so I could get hormones and stuff like that was very difficult. And then the level of quality was very, you know what I mean? So if somebody is low income and whatnot, it's virtually almost impossible almost. You know what I mean? Because even then, once you do get the prescription and do all the things you're supposed to do, you still got to pay for it. And it's, I used to buy them like straight up, without insurance or anything because I couldn't. So it'd be like almost like $120, $125 per bottle.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and not people, that's what I did for like years.
Wow.
And fortunately, where my position like with the military and stuff, I was able to do it, but somebody else would not be able to do that. It's hard. And then to be monitored, that was like a whole different thing too, because like just to make sure that your overall health is good while you're taking hormones and stuff like that was almost virtually impossible because people just wouldn't keep up with the stuff. So you call, like they don't even remember that you did it or whatever. So
because you're going to free clinics at the time,
Yeah.
so they weren't keeping
they
track of
would
you.
keep track of all that stuff.
There's too many people. Probably.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's another thing. It took like months to get in. You know what I mean? And then because it was just like, oh, we don't have an appointment, so I had to wait like a long time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for like the first year I was here, I didn't have anything. It was more available to me when I was in Virginia than in San Francisco, which is not something I was just like, wow, like that's crazy. Yeah. And I actually, when I was in Virginia, because I found a doctor. He, you know what I mean? He monitored me. Like I had no problems until I came here, and it was hard to get just on like the free side, or like just finding a doctor to monitor me and to get hormones and stuff, and I could just like pay out of pocket. It was very hard to do that here. So
It's kind of scary too, because it's like, when I was taking tea for a little bit, in a lot of ways I was like, oh man, this was like actually like medicine in my body. And so it's important for me to get those checkups to be able to see what my levels look like. To be able, I can't just like self-medicate this actually.
Exactly.
Because that can be dangerous in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, I'm definitely feeling nervous about that.